Reality encompasses all possible, visible, measurable, experienceable, and non-measurable, experienceable realities. What we are in this body and in this short lifetime and in this world are accustomed to or are allowed to are the realities that we interact with and interrelate to with our senses. So they are the physical laws of nature, they are the interactional laws of human beings. They're also my own observation of my inner self. These are realities. There is an individual situation within me. There is also a sociological interrelationship between me and my neighbors and society. There is also the outer physical world, which I am part of. I am not away from it. I am part of this total physical passage in time. I am caught in a biological river. So this is where we are, and this is where if we get into grips with this unitive reality, then we find this is a platform from which we will be occasionally allowed to peek into the other unknown. It is like being on the tip of the iceberg. The rest is submerged. But if we have not mastered the nature of what is available to us, it will be unnatural. It will be, if you like, not justice, not just for us to be able to see the unknown. People who dabble into magic, people who dabble into the supernatural, are trying to gain power through illicit or semi-illicit means to that unknown. The natural way is for us to master the nature of time before we can talk about non-time. What is the nature of reality right now before we can talk about reality beyond time and space? There is a courtesy to all of this. The Quran says, and enter the houses from their doors. You mustn't be, we can't be thieves coming through the windows. There is an order to things. If I am unclean outwardly, how can I talk about purification of the heart? If I'm used to, if you like, destructive way of thinking, how can I have a clear, positive thought? We have to put our house in order from the outset. We have to begin where charity has to begin, which is with me. Put me in order. Find out about my spectrum of totality, from one end greed to the other sense generosity. We must understand these things.
In your book, you mention the purification of the heart quite extensively, and you have done so just now. Can you just tell us a little bit about how a person would go about to seek the purification of the heart, and perhaps related to the teachings of Islam?
Within the Islamic traditions, we have a very workable model as to what is soul, what is spirit, what is mind or aql, and what is heart, and what is whims, what are whimsical also. So we have a fairly workable model for the human psyche. Basically, we believe that the Islamic and all other religions are based on the same model, which is that the spirit is from the unknown, it's from beyond our comprehension. It is from the unseen, it's from God. And once that spark interacts with matter and material, from it arises this ultimately complex thing called the self, the soul. So the soul is an individualistic thing which we chisel and carve along our lifetime. Its carving, or that so-called personal soul, comes into existence as a result of interacting with the outer world through the mind and the intellect. Now, the heart remains the vehicle of interconnection or connection to that unknown. So whereas the mind and the intellect is to do with duality, is to do with analysis, is to do with causality, cause and effect. This is what that instrument or that vehicle is for. The heart is supposed to be our sanctum or our Kaaba. You know, we go for Hajj, and the Kaaba is supposed to be empty. No idols in it. No inner secrets of, if you like, desires or attachments. One of our greatest masters, Imam Ali alayhi salam, says, to renounce the world does not mean not to own anything. It means that nothing should own you. We cannot renounce matter. Our physical body is made of matter, but it depends on our interrelationship with it. Does the car own me, or do I own the car? If the car is scratched, am I scratched? If the house is burnt, have I burnt? Or is it yet an acquisition, a necessary acquisition? There is a problem, but it is surmountable. Whatever. So the heart is to be empty. It's like a mirror. If it is tarnished, it will not reflect reality. And it is to be present. It's to be all available now, not tarnished by the past events, or disturbed or concerned about the future events. So therefore it is to do with beingness, pure, simple beingness. The mind and the intellect have got within them the network of experiences and relationship through the senses with the outer. So as we function in the outer physical world, the inner has its technology, which is to be completely and utterly empty. You mentioned earlier to love your neighbor.
Yes.
So even if your neighbor is a person who is not of such a high desirable character, but to have compassion for him or her, or to have that feeling of possibility of them also evolving, so that the heart is empty. It doesn't mean that my mind does not recognize that they are rascals, or they are abusers, or they are ecologically, if you like, not well behaved, or what. I do discriminate, but my heart is available to immediately turn towards love and towards compassion and towards magnanimity and all that. So the heart is to be empty, the mind is full. You often find us nowadays is the reverse. You know, you find people's heart is full of idols and the head is empty. So we're mixed up.
Now, in mentioning the soul and the development of the soul, it is obvious that you believe that the soul persists when the body is gone. In Islam, do you believe in an afterlife and a reward for a correct or good life that is lived here on earth, and the development of the soul during that life?
Like all other religions before it, in Islam we believe that this existence on the physical domain is only a prelude to another phase. The same way as before this existence there was the phase of in the womb. From the point of conception, we are in a field of interspace. We are physically there but not aware of the physicality of the world. And then we are born into this world, which is like a kindergarten. And here we have got limited possibilities of behavior. We can elevate ourselves, or we can devalue and lower ourselves. We have those choices. So God, in a sense, has given us a certain amount of a leeway. We can elevate ourselves to a point of, according to the Quran, to above the angels, the angelic powers and forces that are unknown and unseen by our senses. Or we can sink to lower than brute animals. So we encompass the entire spectrum within ourselves, within this soul. It depends which one of them are we getting tuned to. If you like, it's like a radio that if we get ourselves constantly tuned to the higher, then we end up being the higher beings which we deserve to be. If on the other hand we lower it, then we are. So during this life, it is like the university for us to practice this art of elevating ourselves according to our potential. And after the release of the body, which belongs to the world, it is only a borrowed vehicle, the soul carries on its journey to another interspace of the grave until the world comes to an end. Physical creation coming to an end, then there we enter into a phase of non-time, non-space, so to speak. And this is the meaning of hereafter or afterlife.
In our earlier conversation, that something has no light. I know that that word has a special meaning for you. Can you tell us about your feelings about the word light?
By that I meant no transmission. It's outer information. It's like it was actually referring to a music.
Yes.
There are some musics that are fine, they are entertaining, they keep you along. There is also furniture music that's played in hotel lobbies.
Yes.
But then there is also a sound or a composition or a harmony that awakens in us certain inner recesses that are almost at the edge of time and space. They have a transformative element. There are certain symphonies, certain musics, certain creations, artists' work, that have almost taken that inspiration to the point of, if you like, beyond human possibilities. And this is what we all strive for. We want transformation. Information is only useful in existential matters. But information, when it comes to matter of awakening or gnosis or self-knowledge, is only useful if it is going to transform me. So we are all seeking ultimately transformation. And that is what we meant by no light. It is not transformative. It does not turn us into, it does not ignite or enlighten that other part in us that we yearn for it to be enlivened. It does not turn on that channel in us, which we call as inner spiritual high. And that is our reality, that is our essence. And if we don't nourish that and nurture that, we will never be happy.
Should we then always seek out experiences that will bring light into our lives and try to avoid as much as possible those that really put us in darkness?
No doubt, we naturally do it. Our life, if you observe how a child progresses, to begin with, the child is only concerned about causal events, the joy of seeing the laws of physics and gravity and desires and satisfying the desires. Until we grow older, we begin to develop insight, wisdom develops, the beginning, the windows to that inner light, until we begin to discover that real joy ultimately lies, its source lies within ourselves. Joy does not come from outside. It is we create a certain need or a desire and a gap from inside and we satisfy it from outside. This is only to bring about an equilibrium out of a need or out of a, we create that. So
now, can religion create a light in our lives, and how does Islam create light?
It is Allah who creates light. God's purpose in creation is to ignite His creation, is to enliven His creation, each according to their potential. For the animal kingdom, according to the constraints that they live with, to the human kind, to the ultimate, to know reality. But that knowledge is experiential, and that is the light. It is God's business. It's not, religion is only to contain us, is only to enable us to live within bounds that makes this possibility more available for society. Prophets and messengers only indicate God. They don't, it is us who have to collapse ourselves into our inner divine godliness by containment, by discrimination. So if you like, the religious path is only to enable us not to go too far in corruption and decadence and all that. Religion does not bring about godliness. It's godliness, God brings about His knowledge to whoever He wishes, as He wishes. So the prophetically revealed knowledges are simply that there is one reality, that reality encompasses all creation, but we have to awaken to it by abandoning into it. And then behaving ourselves by not getting too corrupt and safeguarding the body, giving it what it needs, not denying it, but not accepting that the body is all what there is.
Many people, religious and otherwise, often ask the question, why does God permit evil? what would you reply to them?
It is a price to pay for the rise of this event of consciousness. If you like, it is the rise and the fall of Adam. Before that creation, before the rise of consciousness, there were, if you like, none other than that placid, inanimate, or if you like, primal, total ecological balance. No discrimination between opposites. The rise of consciousness, that, if you like, the rise of conceptualization of a desire, or the wanting of the apple, as symbolizing, with that rises duality. Duality implies also good and bad, implies healthy and unhealthy, implies all of these opposites. Within us, there is a discriminative quality that we do not want ill health. We do not like meanness. We do not want, if you like, arrogance. We do not cherish hate. There is within us that inner programmation of orienting towards the higher virtues. We know what is going to destroy us as a vice. So we are given that choice in a way to veer within these limitations. So God has created this spectrum and has given us the discriminative capacity to work within that spectrum. And it is, so we have a choice in a sense. And yet we are programmed in a sense to go towards that which elevates us towards that inner happiness, an inner state which we all yearn for.